I'm the recovery Ronin. Every night when I meditate, I get shown different ways of explaining different things. Like the Akashic records are real. So look, I don't know what I'm doing, right? I'm a homeless junkie who's found a level of peace, comfort, and consistency and confidence that isn't common in this world. And I did it intentionally. And I did it because of my obsession and my suffering to free myself in this radical obsession I have to be of service. I think we all have it in us, right? We make the mistake of thinking that now you can live alone. It doesn't really matter what the service is. It could be service to, I don't know, a foundation. It could be service to your local homeless. It could be service to your family. It could be service to saving the dolphins. It could be service what I'm doing, right? I just try to inspire everybody and everyone I come in contact with that there's more to this life than we've been sold, and that there's a way of turning what we already know into a very powerful transformation. Right? We have people like Dr. Joe Dispenza who have turned neuroscience into a more functional skill set of understanding what we can call the awakening. Really, all it is it's the ability to live present. Because as he explains, there's this cognitive cycle that we all live in, especially those of us of the last like 5 generations, because we don't sit with ourselves anymore, right? So we don't get grounded anymore in rituals, traditions, right? So we don't get to kind of understand how to process the world. It's an impossible world to navigate. I don't know how to teach people how to navigate the world better. It's completely insane. What I'm talking about is how to become more aligned with success. And success, I mean that you stop procrastinating, that you put effort into your meaningful goals and your meaningful values. That's the really only truest way to define success. It's also where happiness comes from, where sense of fulfillment. It's how you build confidence. Because every day you show up more and more, right? If you realize that you're building this and you understand the mechanisms. I'm not saying this is easy, and I'm not saying people don't know this already. Everybody like has a version of themselves they know they want to become. And the more you show up every day for that version of yourself and the goals and the things you care about, the richer you feel about yourself in life. It's an earned sense of confidence. Confidence isn't something we project. It's something we give to ourselves. Like I just saw a scene in a movie where the girl got propagandized and she realized that she might have been the bad person, right? On the wrong side of something. And the guy next to her, like, she made a decision to put herself at risk. Right? She changed her entire worldview in a very short time. And he goes, "Well, why are you trying to prove this to me? Or who are you trying to prove this to?" She goes, "Maybe it's nobody else but me." Right? And there's a truth to that. And all I've done is kind of processed what the world gave me the way I understood it, which is going to be unique to all of us. But then how to elevate my perspective and my attitude into an alignment, into a presence, into alignment with seeking truth over my feelings, into goals over my fears, into internalized sense of self over the need for validation. And it's a practice. It's really just a practice of a skill set. It's one thing. It's the same thing every master in history has told us for all time. The cause of all the suffering that we experience are the lies we tell ourselves. Now, pain is a part of life, but when you are like you believe in the materialism, so you're just uh, an evolved monkey with no meaning. Love is just chemistry that happens to react, and it's a biological mechanism for procreation, which it is. But there's a lot more to it, and if you just believe in materialism and your identity is from the external world, then this is the reality you live in. And we all live in that reality because we have material, three-dimensional base sensory input. Okay, I'm getting a little deeper. So let's start with this, right? The original title of my book was Beyond the Clichés. And because I think we weaponize our misunderstanding of cliches in a lot of ways. and I can basically do all of them. But one that is very upsetting to me, not the most, there's a few that are really upsetting. But when we tell parents and people who love their family that you can't do it for anybody else but you, what that leads to, because we don't process what that means, right? We just tell somebody it because most of us have got told it ourselves and it made us feel small. And then since everybody thinks that's true, then we repeat it like it's a fact. But what it's led to is because I've done the research, right? I've asked hundreds or thousands of patients these questions, right? I'll go around the room and I'll ask my entire group, "Are you here for you or your family? You or your family?" And everybody will say, "Oh, no, no, me." And you can tell they feel shame because they're saying what they're supposed to say. And I go, "That's what I thought. Every parent I work with feels guilty for loving their children because we tell them they can't do it for them." And now that's not true. Whatever motivates you to be your best self is your motivation. Your why is your why. So we tell people that there's something wrong with their why, that they literally feel shame for loving their children, putting their children above themselves. Now, the cliche has a meaning behind it. What's the actual purpose behind a cliche that's existed for so long? Well, what it means is you can't sacrifice your well-being for your loved ones and think you're being loyal, right? Like I lost my parents young, I lost my brothers young because of choices they made, and they took themselves from me. They took their health from me. They took our ability to have much deeper, richer relationships. They took their emotional health from me so that they could have been their best selves and guided me and helped me become my best self. And I'm not resentful for it. Right? I understand it. Like it's incredibly impossible to navigate the modern world. There's very little real direction out there. And how to do that again, I don't know. Or how to stay clean and sober long term, I don't know. Other than healing the things that are at the core of addiction. And I don't, when I say it's a disease, I don't know that I agree with the word disease. I agree that it's not a choice, but I don't know that disease is the right word. Just like with anxiety and depression and PTSD and trauma, they're all essentially the same thing. The power we give to the stories we tell ourselves. And the thing is, we've known this forever. And because it's our beliefs, we think there's not much we can do about it. That's what talk therapy is trying to do, right? Ask questions so a person can have slow realizations and slowly challenge the false narratives of their mind, the limiting beliefs of their subconscious, and slowly start to reframe them. But that is not the most effective way to do it. Again, there's efficacy in everything. For one, I think the 12-step program is the best context for change humans have ever invented. I hope everybody that ever hears my voice is inspired to do a 12-step program. I am not a thumper. I do not have the authority to go around telling people if they want freedom from addiction, they have to do a 12-step program. For one, I don't know many people. I know many people in the 12-step community. I don't know many that have allowed the steps to guide them in a real spiritual awakening, right? I'm not Wally P, Bill W, or Dr. Bob. I'm saying the same thing they were saying, that we've kind of watered down the message, that we've made it more of a social club than it is about really using the spiritual principles to learn accountability and evolve your consciousness, have these spiritual awakenings. And that's okay. It took me over 20 years to start to understand it. I'm not angry at anybody for that. I'm not judging anybody for that. I completely get it. I mean, pointing it out, I have to be kind of aggressive because I know it's going to piss people off. When you tell a massive group of people who are certain in their claims that they are full of shit, they are not going to be happy about it, especially in today's world when we have such attachment, right? We defend our ideas, even though very few of them are well thought out, right? I'm not saying everybody's at the level I was, but like the first thing where my change really just started to take place, right? Because I am unrecognizable emotionally, behaviorally, reactively, the states I live in, the level of peace, comfort. I still have to deal with chronic pain. I still have a lot of the same challenges. I still have a lot of my same ego. It just doesn't have power over me anymore. And I'm not saying everybody needs to transform the way I do. I don't, nobody needs to do anything. What I'm saying is that there's a lot to this, and you can really change your personality. You can evolve yourself so that you're no longer your biggest enemy, you're your greatest ally, your greatest asset. You're the one who has your back and your loved one's back consistently. You know how good that feels to be every day more, well, not like it's not a straight line, but consistently better and better for the values you hold dearest, because you know how full of shit you were. And this is my point, that until you have that realization that, right, as you become an adult, that most of your opinions, if not all of them, were given to you. I can tell you this, I didn't learn to start critically thinking my own personality, my own opinions till 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Well, I guess it was more like 12 or 14, but it really didn't go as deep and as far across as it needed till about 7 years ago. I didn't start believing it. I started realizing some things, but once I really started having the courage to completely let go of everything from my pain is so bad and nobody understands that I want to kill myself, to how I react when I stub my toe, to how I react in traffic, to the way my anger builds when I'm trying to get in bed and I got 2 100-pound dogs that want to get under the covers with me, and I have my disability where I wake up screaming multiple times a night, and it takes all this effort, and I know there's frustration, but they're the loves of my life. They make my wife happy. They keep her safe. Quickly, that rising sense of resentment or frustration turns to nothing but gratitude, right? Because it's perspective. Both are true and neither are true. It's what I decide to believe in. And I can do this with everything from cold shower to running late for traffic. Like, I realize people are shocked when they see, like, my answer when I get asked to do things or work are always the same. It's always the exact same answer for years now. Happy to help, happy to be of service. Every time. And it's not about the money. It's, and if anything, like, I don't get rewarded the way one would think. For one, I look like I look, right? I am not an easy person to like. I'm loud. My energy takes up all the space in the room. I'm opinionated. I'm very driven and passionate. I'm not an easy person to like. From what people tell me, I'm an easy person to love, but I'm not easy to like. I'm a lot to take, and I know that. And when people see, they struggle to understand it. Like when I tell people I work with, right, I'm at the restaurant business again after 8 years of just doing clinical work at multiple facilities. Um, and like I tell them all the time, like it matters more to me to have your back, to be your teammate, to try to make this place as good as it can be for all of us, for all of our guests, for our management, right? All the people I get to work with every day, all the people I get to interact with every day. I care about every one of them feeling supported, like me giving of my best self. And people don't understand it, right? I tell them I care more about that than making money by a long shot. The money will always take care of itself. I'm going to show up and I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to take every table. I'm going to close every night I can. Like I got asked last night as soon as I walked in the door, Adam, you want to, yep, immediately, yep. And I made a mistake. This is a trip too. Like the day before, I picked up a shift last week and it wasn't approved, but I just started here a couple weeks ago, and I knew it didn't get approved, and I forgot, but I knew I had the guy's number that does the schedule, and I didn't call to confirm, and I showed up because I knew the girl who I told I would pick it up, and I picked it up on the website that I would show up, wasn't gonna. So somebody had to be there. And the manager scheduled another girl to train, and I haven't been there long enough to train, so I couldn't do it. And they felt so guilty. I'm like, you did nothing wrong. If anything, it's my fault. 100%. I should have called and confirmed. Right? I had Joel's number. I know it wasn't approved, but I was going to show up anyways, and I wasn't sure what to do. So I came in, and no, there's nothing for you to feel guilty about. And when we talked about it the next day, everybody was just kind of shocked. It's like, yeah, but see how easy it is to take accountability. Like I'm not embarrassed, right? I tried to do the best I could with what I understood at the time, and I could have done better. I should have called the manager, and I didn't, and it's on me, and no big deal. So I got to drive back home, right? And turning the ability to be present and to understand your ego, the way it projects selfishness, control, anger, stress, constant stress, right? It comes up all the time, right? Like, I need more money than I have. I need to get my car in the shop. I need to get my bike worked on. I got to get my dogs in the vet. I need to buy them new steps, and I'm a little bit behind because I was out of work full time for like 9 weeks. And of course, the stress comes up and I worry. But the difference now is I don't hold on to it. I don't cycle constantly worrying about it because it is something that concerns me. So it is something I should think about. And it comes into my mind and I feel the tightening of my body. It's like, oh, what am I going to do? And then it's like, do I trust God? Do I trust the process? Do I practice acceptance? Or are these just words to me? And this is the big thing I'm trying to get people to understand. I'm not against anything we're doing, essentially. What I'm saying is there's this other level to it where it feels like we might have forgotten it because so few of us do it and do it intentionally. Some mature because of life, but very few people ever change their personality consistently in their adulthood, like evolve themselves, become your better self. That's literally the only thing we have control over. It should be a thing we're all doing. I mean, that's how good societies are built, is people's personal accountability to them best selves, not projecting their insecurities and blaming everybody else for their excuses. And, and it's not like telling anybody how to live. I'm doing this for people. No, honestly, I'm doing this because it's my calling. I've had it in my head my whole life. My sister-in-law told me I used to say it when I was like 4 or 5 years old. She told me at my brother's funeral. I guess she was looking for some confirmation of something because I was such a weird kid. I used to talk about spirituality so much. And apparently I told her that I chose my parents because of their suffering, because I needed to suffer and understand suffering because I'm here to evolve my consciousness and be of service to the human race beginning the awakening. I've thought it my whole life. I dream about it every night. It's so weird that I still don't believe it. I've experienced it my whole life. And everything has gotten me here. All the homelessness, all the addiction, and I don't know how far this is gonna go. And to be honest, I have nothing to do with that. I'll just keep putting in the effort. I'll keep making the videos. I'll keep working on my book. I'll keep using my voice to try to challenge the surface level conversation and approach that we have. And the ideas are there. We're just not taking them where they need to go, down the rabbit hole of self, right? Until you understand the story you tell yourself that you're attached to, how can you ever challenge it, right? Again, think about how effective psychedelics are. The fact that this isn't a bigger conversation, right? Psychedelics in a couple of doses, a lot of them are nearly 100% successful for treating all stress related disorders, terminal illnesses, fear of terminal illnesses. Sometimes they heal. Um, PTSD, addiction, trauma. What happens during psychedelics? The default network goes down, right? What I've trained myself to do is to learn how my default network speaks to me, right? My thoughts, feelings, and my impulses. The r- revolving thoughts of my mind and the way my body reacts to them, and vice versa. And learn to take its power where I'm not attached to it. I still have my ego. I still like validation. I still see a cute girl walking down the beach when I'm doing my thing in the morning. And, I'll notice the thought in the back of my mind, what would be the coolest thing I could do right now? Oh, does that look cool? Do I look cool right now? Does she think I'm hot? I notice it. Uh, I mean, I'm sure things get past my awareness all the time, right? Because I'm getting better at this. Like, I know I'm going to be better at this in a few months than I am today, which means there's still tons of shit I'm unaware of or that get by my awareness. But a lot of the time, I mean, a lot of the time, I just laugh it off. And until you understand how your mind operates and why your body feels the way it does and what you can do about it, right? That's the thing. What can we do about it? We pretend there's nothing, that we're just going to will ourselves to change our behaviors despite the evidence for that not being a thing. And that misconception of believing that change is about forcing behavior has quite a body count. I could tell you what it's like. to be a homeless addict. I hate every part of it. I hated being an addict. I hated being a junkie. Right? I wasn't even smart enough to handhandle or hustle or panhandle or hustle. I worked every day to support a habit because it was the only relief. 'Cause I detoxed myself hundreds of times. That's evidence of how badly I wanted freedom. I would keep fighting through detox. This time's going to be different. I would pray and I would pray and I would do what they told me and ask God to remove the impulse. Thing was, my suffering was just too great. I needed to heal my pain. My and I have a unique thing, not just because of the being born into heroin or trauma or the homelessness, not even the relapses. The big thing that separated me was losing my family, and the story I told myself about it, and my physical pain that nobody ever heard me. No matter how many times I would explain it to somebody, no matter them seeing me have to deal with it every day they're around me. That's why I didn't like being around people long periods of time because they have to see the spasms and I have to explain it and they still doesn't register and they're still like, why didn't you ever say something like when something gets really bad? And I've told them like 100 times because all they see is this. They see my fight that like the reason why I always look like I'm in shape is because I have to stay warm all the time. Because when I stop moving, the spasms start. Like having to sit in this chair and work in this book. I mean, it's hard. I have to do yoga constantly. Anyways, my point was being a homeless junkie, feeling like you weren't even human. Everybody looked through you, working your ass off. I wasn't breaking into things. I wasn't robbing people. I didn't hurt people. I mean, of course, I hurt people because of my addiction. And it doesn't make me different or better. This is just my experience. But my point is, like, I had a good heart. I wasn't evil. I was alone and overwhelmed and hurt, scared, anxious, depressed, and suicidal as fuck because I was in so much pain that nobody could see or understand. And I would relapse because, of course, I would. The pain would just build and build and build. And I didn't know how to stop it. I did everything they told me. Right. And then everybody told me I relapsed because I didn't suffer enough. Like 200 detoxes wasn't enough suffering. Being homeless over 10 years wasn't enough suffering. Being born to a mother who was chained in a basement her entire childhood, and all that dumped on me wasn't enough suffering. The bullying, the abuse. Think about what that does to a person. And the fact that I thought I was doing it on purpose and that it was like everybody else knew what to do but me. And they were just keeping it from me because when I would ask questions, right, they tell me, well, I guess you didn't hit your bottom. You didn't really want it. You weren't willing enough. You didn't keep it simple enough or you didn't surrender completely. And I would ask them, well, I'm willing I go to multiple meetings a day. I do everything I'm told. Tell me how to keep it simple. Tell me how to stop my mind. Tell me how to ease the pain. Well, just one day at a time. I didn't know what was going on back then. I thought everybody was gatekeeping from me or thought I was too stupid to understand how to stay clean, no matter what. Like, yeah, Nancy Reagan figured that shit out in the 80s too. Just say no. I get it. I get it. I like the fact that anybody thinks they needed to make me feel worse. Like anybody can make a junkie feel worse than they feel about themselves is comical to me. And so what I had to figure out was what to do with my fight. Because I'm tenacious as fuck. Hence why I detox so many times. Like I never chose to relapse. I don't feel like I ever chose to relapse once. I hated that shit. I did it against my own will completely every fucking time. I was hyper aware. I was hyper aware of the voice telling me, bro, you're going to hate everything. Please just wait a little longer. Maybe the pain will get better. Just a little longer, just a little longer. And I would try to beg myself. I'd be like, I'm going to be homeless again tonight, man. You know it. You know it. You got no excuse. Just please don't do this. And my brain was just that damaged, man. Like we're all at different levels. The fact that people think your addiction means you understand everybody else's addiction is just narcissistic bullshit. We all have unique experiences with being a human, especially with addiction and trauma and things like that. That's what makes us all feel so lonely, that we don't feel like anybody else can relate to our pain because we didn't grow up in that type of culture anymore. We didn't have same households. Our parents like didn't raise us together. We didn't go through a bunch of traumas together, have rituals and traditions. We don't have a place we belong anymore. So we're dealing with a massive epidemic of a new way suffering as a human has created a loneliness gap where we can't relate to each other anymore because we're all so insecure and overcome with fear and overwhelmed by our environment and an inability to understand our own impulses and thoughts and feelings. So we get angry and we get frustrated and we get scared and we project it and we just look for something to blame because we don't know what to blame. We can't just constantly blame ourselves. And we go down rabbit holes. Like, what's better to blame everybody else for you throwing away your potential in your life with excuses and procrastination and laziness and lying to yourself all the time, or telling yourself you're the biggest piece of shit on earth? Of course, we're going to project it, right? Something simple. Tony Robbins, like I say to couples all the time, and I could say this to pretty much anybody, right? Anybody that's that in a relationship where they love each other, they believe in each other, and they're both willing to take accountability. I could solve their relationship in about 2 hours. Tony Robbins can do it in under 10 minutes because we tell on ourselves because we don't know. Like if you watch an expert like Tony Robbins work with people, it's the same thing therapists do. It's just he's really good and he doesn't have the clinical handcuffs, right? Like Dr. Phil can do this, just not at the same level. Hypnotists can do stuff like this, just at a very elite level, where if you just ask people questions, right? Because they're not self-aware enough to know how they need to lie, right? And you ask them about the relationship, you ask them what's going wrong, what they're upset about, right? What they're going through, and they'll always tell on themselves. Either they're beating themselves up too much, or they're projecting it into the world and haven't and have created excuses. It's really one of those two. If somebody's really suffering, a relationship's broken, it's one of those two, right? One of those two dynamics. And if you watch him, he always goes in one of those two directions. He always says, maybe you're being too hard on yourself. Oh, how dare you do your best, right? Because, they'll tell on themselves what's going on. Or they'll say, well, sounds like actually you're the problem. You're just a spoiled, rotten brat, and nobody's ever had the courage to tell you so, right? And because he has such a platform and such a powerful voice, and he's right. Like, again, I could do this. I'm not saying I'm at the level of Tony Robbins, but I understand it. And what I'm saying is we could do this for ourselves. We could all be our own Tony Robbins. It's going to take courage because the first time you start really mapping your why you do things, like why you make excuses, how attached to fear you are, the stories you tell yourself about your righteousness, how you perceive your past, how you perceive your future. Um, you're constantly creating these stories. Some are justifiable, but the radical cycling of emotion because of the story is not justifiable. Right, like I was saying, I do concern myself with, I need more money. I'm a little behind on bills. I have some things I need to get done. I'm aware it's an issue, but I can't fix it in the moment, and I trust myself, and I trust the process, and I know it'll work out one way or the other, and I might struggle here or there, but I'll just keep fighting, and it'll work out one way. I'll survive it. My family as long as my family's okay, I'm good, right? So, it's not that I don't not concern myself with it anymore. It comes up, right? It'll run through. I'm like, oh, I gotta something about the car. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta get this taken care of. Like, so it stays on the list of my awareness of priorities. But I don't just go, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I need to do this, and then just cycle through all these crazy scenarios and create fear and stress on all these things that don't even exist. It's just all right. Well, I'm gonna show up. Things will go up, things will go down, whatever. I'm just going to keep fighting and being the most successful person I can today and the most peaceful person, right? So it's success, it's peace, it's happiness. Peace is that I'm no longer run in cycles of my pain or my fears or my doubt or my worry. They come, they go. If anything, I experience intentionally peace all the time, especially how good I've gotten at meditation. The ability to lay there, calm my mind, focus it, stay focused. Not every time, but then relax my body and go into the space of just information. And the more I surrender the attachment to the physical nature of my ego, the identity of Adam, the more I enter infinite, and it's like this God consciousness, and it's so peaceful, right? If I didn't love what I do and love the people I love and wanna be here for them,